fuck is this? Hey, guess what? I've got a job that you're gonna love. Look, I'm in the market for work, sure, but I seriously doubt it. I'm gonna like anything you go for me. Nice and easy. Oh, that's okay. That's a dead giveaway. It's gonna suck. This is strictly a salvage mission. No crazy shit, I promise. Do you know what I found in that trawler I had to pull out of Orion's Eye last week? Fucking hell, man. That shit was crazy. One of those old pre-FTL generation ships from the 2000s. Oh, and you think I can read that, buddy? However the hell you pronounce that. Oh, I'm on the same page. Just popped up my radar. Its disappearance is apparently some big unsolved mystery. Never made it to its destination. I mean, if it's in the middle of space, I don't think space was his destination. It was in between point A and, well, actually it might have been point B between A and C, you know. You have to go through space to get there, so I guess it's just drifting lifelessly in orbit around Antares B. I'll send you the exact coordinates. It's pretty hard to get a visual, and probably why no one has found it before. The sponsor for this one is a historical society from the outer colonies. Oh, great. Here's what the objective card says. Download any log files you can, especially any that explain what happened to the ship. If possible, speak to the security AI mute for assistance. Mute, huh? It's a good, easy gig, and I want you to take this one. It should be asocial enough for you. I don't hear any complaints. Dispatch control. Do I really want to completely... I'm out in space. The more people I have around me, well, that I can stand. I won't have to suffer from, like, space rot in the brain. You start going crazy. And last time that happened, I had to chase about 15 pink elephants out the airlock. I nearly went with them. Hey, everybody, it's Ad the Red. Let's play a game, shall we? I am here with Analogue, a hate story, which was gifted to me very, like, hatefully, I suppose, by Vinisar. So, I've got this. It's a visual novel thing, I think. I also think I've got the sound balance correctly, I hope. Or at least, I tried to get to the music wasn't overpowering my voice, but also where I wasn't necessarily drowning it out, because it does sound kind of cool, and I didn't want it to be completely muted. But anyway, we're going to just go into disconnecting. Picture override terminal restricted mode. Welcome to Starship, not pronouncing that shit. Internal computer, Monday, January 1st, 1970. Notice this system is property of the Unified Korea Space Probe Agency. Accessed by individuals not affiliated with the UKSPR. A successor organization is a felony under the UK SPA Act of 2381. Last login user Kim Hyun-ae. I think that's kind of how it's pronounced. Hyun-ae. 221,432 days ago. An error. AI personality currently disabled, diverting to command line. Available commands. Oh, fucking hell. Is this enable AI? Used to select new AI personality. Only available ones. Quite. Oh, hello. You're kind of cute. Hello. Oh my word, an external connection. Is someone out there? Well, someone is... Is anybody out there? It's been so many years since I've spoken to anyone. Oh jeez, I'm being discourteous. My apologies. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hyun-ae. Star is, of course, silent. Just represents that I'm an AI. Oh, I think it means you're a star girl. Oh, I control the log keeping systems on the unpronounceable. At least that's what's left of them. Please, just excuse me for 1 second. I'll give you a terminal so you can respond. There you go. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Oh, okay. You can call me Ad. What? Oh, jeez, my apologies. I don't know why, but what you typed is just like garbage. Hey, that's not nice. That's bad. Oh, don't rub it in. I think there may be a problem with my language parsing systems. Okay, well, that's... I don't know if that's a convenient excuse to cover up your slight there, but we'll see. Sorry, somehow your input is getting mangled between the terminal and me. I'm so terribly sorry. You don't have to apologize if it's faulty equipment. I mean, you are an AI. You're literally the ghost in the machine. And if the machine isn't properly allowing me to communicate with the virtual dead, then it's not your fault. You gotta get a better virtual Ouija board. I'm gonna try something. Can you understand this? No. Yeah, I guess, sure. Alright. Very well, we have that at least. I'm afraid if we can't get text input fixed, that'll have to suffice. Why do I get the feeling that's going to become a big part of the game, is that the text input never quite works right, so that kind of plays into the psychological factor of me dealing with this AI. I'm terribly sorry, it must be difficult being able to say anything. All a common person feels until, well, the internet got invented. This might be difficult then, well, nevertheless, as the archive system AI, I'll be doing my best to try to help you navigate these records anyway. Unfortunately, it might be a little difficult since, well, without any language parsing, you won't be able to do any text searches either. Don't worry though, it's my duty to provide assistance with the archive functions. I'll do my best. Right, let me see. I'll try to provide you with a sampling of logs to start out with, and you can just show me the things you want more information on. I hope that'll be acceptable to you. Oh, it's late. Oh, early, I guess. Early. I suppose. Pardon me. Let me just build you an interface to work with. You don't have to start with a terminal. Very well, it's all set. And I suppose this is a little awkward, but can I just say one more thing before we get to work? Sure. I'm just very happy to be working with you. Oh, I've had no one to talk to for such a long time. It got so lonely. Oh, you're an AI that has emotions. That's not good. Having someone to talk to is just really amazing. I thought maybe I never would again. Sorry about the communication, Barry, but even still. But I feel even worse about that because you've been waiting so long apparently to have some kind of social interaction with somebody. And apparently I've been sitting here because I didn't want any, so now I feel like my character is a fucking dick. What was I saying? Oh, right. Yeah, after all this time you've been sitting here waiting, and I can't even talk back to you. Not that I think my character would want to. I'd want to, because I'm not that much of a social reject. Geez, I'm babbling. I won't hold you up any longer. Here's your interface. I hope it's good enough. I was babbling, so it's just, you know, speak with Hyun-ae, access log documents, use over a terminal. No message has been read. Log documents. Block 4. Okay, what? Pack of idiots and Smithskin. Pack of idiots. When our family falls into decline, I just wanted to be perfectly clear why. It's because the music in the background is pretty bitchin'. Nothing that would cause your family to decline, but you know, it's because Dai Hyun's Sons is the biggest collection of idiots in the entire ship. The turning point was this year. At the time I write this, I'm returning from Sungjun's funeral. In that family, there were 3 brothers, Sungjung the drunk, Sungkyu the dim-witted brute, and Sungmin, who, despite being the eldest, seems to have more interest in cavorting with courtesans than creating an heir. They kind of, in a sense, along the same path maybe he's practicing. Noticeably absent from the morning proceedings was Sungkyu. What he was doing, I do not know. Knowing him, I can only guess. The affair was made even more laughable by Sungmin and his widowed mother's insistence that Sungjun had died of natural causes. Apparently they had even found the doctor willing to put such nonsense in the official record. A married noble managing to drink his way into the grave at only 30 years of age would be embarrassing enough. To brazenly try to hide the obvious, however, that will mark the beginning of the Smith family's fall. What do you think? I don't know what I'm doing here. So here's the background, I suppose. There were 2 major noble families in the Kims were the big one, as I'm sure you can see. The Smiths were the other major family, but I'm afraid I can't tell you very much about them. They're very generic. One was named John, and the other one was named Jane. Her maiden name was Doe. They were the most important family on the ship, and just before the end, the High Magistrate was a Smith until the very last year, even. I can give you a little more. I can give you a little bit about them for reference, so you can see the Kim men thought their biggest enemy was. The Smiths didn't really matter very much at the end, so I can't. Well, I don't know much about them. I certainly never met any of them, so I'm just going off what I've read. Here, this should give you an idea of what I mean. Goodbye. Smithskin son. When our family. Oh, what? Oh, I don't. What? What did you give me? Oh, okay. Contempt. Oh, despite having hardly shown their faces the entire time I've lived in the Smith house, the second branch of the family has taken it upon themselves to visit again a week after we were forced to endure their smug eye roll at the funeral. Of course, it would be impolite to turn them all away at the door, no matter how poor taste or timing was. What other choice do we have but let them in? don't know, bludgeoned to death with some red wedding style shit. I don't know. Husband wanted to have nothing to do with them, being distracted by Johnny, and mother-in-law had been hiding in her room, leaving it to me to entertain them. Of course, as soon as I had sent their son to go see our daughter, cousin-in-law Kyung-san made it quite clear that it was not that sort of visit. His wife just sat there silent while he ripped into me. Okay. I couldn't write down those words. It was simply one line of abuse after another. So it's like playing League of Legends. Apparently, we were to be blamed for Sankyu leaving before they showed up, for wearing the wrong mourning garb, for my husband's shocked reaction with his death, and in fact, we were to be blamed for his death itself. Okay. All he kept shouting about was how embarrassing for the family was that a nobleman of the Smith house had been allowed to drink himself to death. I wonder if they have any relation to Agent Smith from Monster Inc. I was that the real tragedy was that it looked bad. I might not have felt bad about Sungjoon's dying, but the rest of the family did. To hear such words making light of their loss is appalling. Yet he kept going, shouting awful thing after awful thing, until finally the most unexpected thing happened. Mother-in-law entered the room. "What is going on here?" she asked. He stood up. "I was just passing on a message to his son's wife about his disgraceful conduct, since he won't show his face himself." Then he added, "I am embarrassed to be a Smith right now. With a name like that, so would I." I was, of course, a Matt Smith. But that would be like, never mind, I'm just burning up the deep end. What? So, do you think people don't know about our family shame? Do you have any idea how much of a fool I look like? Well, I can't see you, but I imagine you look pretty foolish. I never saw a more terrifying expression in someone's face. She just glared at him. Finally, she said, "Yes, but you clearly do not, or you wouldn't have lowered your voice." It took him a moment for that to register. Then he was just shocked, but mother-in-law wasn't done. "Please leave," she said, "now." And then she was done. They stared at each other for a good while. Mother-in-law naturally won. When does a mother-in-law not won? With a scowl, Kyung-sam and his family departed. When they had left, I turned to her. "Thank you," I said, but she just shook her head in disgust and exited to her own room without a word. Do you have any comments about this? Sorry, I don't really think there's anything else about them you find relevant. Okay. Just checking. Right, that's contempt. By example, I've given up on any attempts at convincing the main branch of the family to get their act together. As truly speaking, reason to any of that pack of idiots is a fool's errand. Now, I can only hope that their self-destruction is quick, such that when it's my son's turn to pick up the pieces of the Smith name's reputation, he'll be able to do it as soon as possible. He seems far less worried about it than I am, though of course he's only a child, but the boy is mature for his years, and perhaps there is wisdom in his calmness. All we have to do is be better than them, alright? He asked me while I was in a rage about the handling of the funeral. Isn't that what gentlemen do, lead by example? Yes, and then they go out for a duel, and they make sure to turn around first and shoot the other person in the back. Although normally they might wait for them to turn halfway around, so it looks like they were kind of facing the right direction. He is right, of course. The noble family was supposed to be an example to the middle classes, and the commoners and the slaves, perhaps so too, must be served as an example to the family of the High Magistrate and his brother. Perhaps things will not be so doomed for my son after all. It'll be hard for him, of course, if the main branch family continues in this path of decay. But if any boy will grow up to be able to put things right, I believe it is him. Why are you blinking at me? Oh, is it how I talk to you, or is that the actual talk to you button? Hello. Actually, I was just testing the indicator icon. Oh, well, it did. This game's gonna play with me, isn't it? In hate story gameplay, you. Well, yeah, it works. I just thought it'd be a good way of letting you know when I have something to say. I mean, like, if I think something's super important, I can always just interrupt you, but I don't want to distract you if I can help it. I mean, that'd suck, right? What kind of computer program forces yourself on you right in the middle of you trying to work? So, I'll try to do that. Oh god, this is gonna get weird. That is exactly the kind of game this is. Oh, fuck. Desperate for attention after how many fucking years of being stranded in the abyss by herself. And a fucking AI. Anyway, that's all. I guess it worked. Carry on, and I'll set the indicator again if I want to tell you something. I noticed. I only barely registered it was blinking. I was just looking around. Do you have anything to say about you're grayed out, so I guess that means no? Well, whatever. Here comes the fall. Here comes the rain. Here comes the fall. At least nobody's going to say it until it's coming. News that Sung-min has gotten sacked just came in, which is definitely the death of any respectability in this family. Temporary leave, it's been described as, but it's obviously a political move on the part of the Emperor. I think I've got a pretty good idea of what he's playing at, too. He's hoping that making a move against Sung-min will push him over the edge, make him do something indefensibly stupid, and use that as an excuse to shuffle him off for good. It works well enough as any other tactic, really. Make him the example. Well, I'm reiterating it, and I can't fucking function words on processes, whatever. It's a good plan that'll work. Meanwhile, the Kim family seems to be on the rise, getting ready to fill the gaps left by our collapse. Now it's all to my son. If he's not able to rebuild after all this, and the whole family is doomed to permanent decline, everything rides on him. Well, that's a burden and a half. I'm assuming everything new. Yeah, just checking. Okay. Sorry to bug you. Okay. So, what else have we got? Block 6. Dear Smith. Mute. Now, this is an asterisk. It's a star, which apparently indicates AI. So, mute is an artificial intelligence, and I don't know why you insist on putting this all in writing when we could just have a perfectly good conversation. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to do it, whatever you want, you're the man. I just think it's a little weird. I don't really get it. Anyway, as to your question, you're spot on about the pale bride being the focus of attention of the family. Okay. Now, obviously I'm going to assume the pale bride means a person, but I could also see that being a nickname for something else entirely, and it's just a poetic term. I don't know. Not for the reason you wanted, though. I don't know where you heard those rumors, but they are so not true. That girl a troublemaker? No way. I don't see it. Like, it's not even convincing as a rumor. That girl is the most polite, most obedient person I've ever seen in my entire life. The idea of her fighting with her husband is completely unimaginable. In over a month, I've never so much as heard her raise her voice in disagreement. She's quiet, courteous, and does everything she's told without even the slightest hesitation. That was like the perfect woman. I'm sorry, but there's just no way you could possibly exploit any drama here. This is an undramatic situation, as undramatic a situation as it gets, especially not compared to what the situation with your cousin on that courtesan. Don't get me wrong, she bugs the hell out of me. The girl's just too perfect. She's young, she's beautiful, she's demure to the point where I don't even think she has a personality of her own. Oh, that just means... I was gonna say... That statement could have easily been confused without me adding context. I was going to say, well, that's just the product of a shitty writer. Not, of course, the writers of the game being the context of that. To this, I mean, normally that'd be a character. You know what? I'm stumbling over bullshit I shouldn't even be saying. Bad writers, right? Characters, no personalities. Oh, this is news. But she also gets along perfect with the queen. Of course, she commands all the attention of the emperor. Like, can you blame him? I'm sorry, but there's no way he's ever going to be anything but extremely grateful to the Kim family for giving her over. Okay, now you're colored in, so I'm guessing you got something to say. Written by Mute? Whoops, I'm sorry. I don't really know how I got that in there. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. Sorry, none of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. Really, I'm not normally this much of a klutz, I swear. Okay, what are you hiding from me? Block 10 is new notes now. Marital admonitions, part 7. Does the woman who will marry my husband... Ow! Fuck. Timing. But please, do not, to the woman who will marry my husband, Wait, what? That just clicked. To the woman who will marry my husband. Are you dying? But please do not think all this is meant to say you will be unloved. You may be a second wife, but you are still the daughter of a noble house, and that is a precious thing to your family. My husband has faith that you will bring him a son, and this means all the world to him. Nor am I jealous, for you will leave a heavy burden on our house, and for that I am grateful. As proof of his affection for you, let me share with you one secret, which I have been permitted to tell only you. In honor of you, my husband, in his capacity as Captain and Emperor, has permanently changed his admin password to your birth name. Okay, my new sister, you will be brought into the Ryu family, not as a mere lowly woman, but a symbol of power in the inner chambers. You will not only represent the continuation of the Ryu bloodline by providing a son, but your very name will represent the power of the captain's computer. Okay, that's important. To your birth name. Understand this, Pale Bride. Your duty may be great, but you will be loved. So the Pale Bride's birth name is the access password of the captain's computer, which they, of course, conveniently do not state yet, because I am assuming that comes into play later after I dig it up. Hello, what do you want? Of course, the last person to hold the title as Captain Emperor on the ship was Ryuho. Which of Captain Ryu's wives do you wish to know more about? This one. Well, she wrote a lot, so this is going to be tricky to filter. I guess I'll start at the top and let you figure out what's important. Can I also get information on the other one yet? I don't have much on her that I think if I'm over. Let's see. How did all this? So is it going to add both of them, or does one override the other one? What happens if I go back? Anything helpful notes? Oh, okay, I see. A cliche to remember by Hyun-ae. Usually you'll be men are honor, women are based. If you only remember one thing, remember this phrase. Oh my god. The Pale Bride Captain. Oh, huh. Okay. So, Anthony, Kim. Pale Bride Captain. So that's the Pale Bride, or is this? Oh no. So these are couples and. Okay, no, right, that, yeah. I looked at this and I was like, wait, these are clearly not titles, these are names as well. So this, again, no fucking name. Official genealogies don't list women normally. Wives are noted by their family names and daughters are omitted entirely. These are the relevant parts of what I was able to piece through the records. As far as genealogy is concerned, Young Suk is the heir of Jung Soon's adopted in 317. Names in red are women means name is forever unknown. Huh. Okay, and... Interesting. Doesn't quite, in my current addled brain, doesn't quite tell us between two. Yeah, but yeah, Sailor, this is your little. That's the end of the Kim family tree as best I can possibly manage to compile it. I'm afraid it's the best I could do. Ordinarily, women's names aren't even put on the genealogy, so I had trouble with those. I suppose it helps to keep track of the family, though. Okay. My brain is just not. Kim family tree. Or did I just click on. What? I thought I. Oh. Oh, I see, okay. And that just went down right. So what did this or this? Anything? That's just something you need to keep in mind reading these logs. Ow. It was considered to be the natural way of things. Well, what do you think? I kind of think it's stupid, yes. I know, right? Just absolutely terrible and stupid, that was normal. So try to keep that in mind. That's what everyone really did believe, even nearly all the women. Well, the culture pounds into your head enough, or eventually someone's going to believe everything. And if that sounds terrible to you, well, you must come from an awfully nicer society. Sure. Let's go with that. Makes you feel better as a person, I guess. Technicalities. The new heir. When he died this year, my father was an absolute nobody. I don't say this to disrespect his honor, it's the complete opposite. He knew it, and that was a far worse fate than he ever deserved. It wasn't until I was maybe 16 that I even realized we were supposed to be from a noble family. Certainly we never had much of means. Father was a minor noble in the interior decks, and spent his last days dealing with minor peasant disputes. Of all things, peasant disputes. With the poverty we lived in, no wonder it really never really sank in that we were of noble blood, not until I met the main family for the first time. Okay. They were proud, despite the fact that I now realize that they too were suffering from our same lack of royal favor. But I could tell the difference. They hadn't given up. Their son was still alive at that time, and even though he was a child half my age, I couldn't believe his confidence. It put us to shame. Absolutely put us to shame. But the son died later that year, and my father died just a few months ago. I didn't know what we were going to do, but Mother managed to convince sister's husband to adopt me into the main Kim family. I don't think it took much. So now I'm just heir, just like that. Kim Jung-soo's adopted heir. Not that I have the time or position to be proud, but having spoken sincerely with my new father, I think we're on the same page. I'm going to study furiously, and I'm going to become a scholar official. What I didn't tell him was my ambition. I won't settle for any peasant jobs. I'll be better than that. I'm not going to stop until I manage to fulfill my father's dream, High Magistrate. I won't settle. I will not settle. I think Jung-soo expects me to disappoint him, but I damn well will not. If I'm heir of the Kim family, I'm not going to let him down. He wants prosperity, I'll give it to him. More importantly, I'm never going to let any other Kim son feel like his family doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Never again. I swear on my ancestors, never again. Well, determined as hell. I suppose I can give you more about Young-suk. I don't have. I don't know. I don't think you'll really find him very interesting, but here you can see for yourself. At this point, I'm just looking for table scraps of information to try and piece together a more cohesive narrative. Dearest mother, finally I believe Young-suk has grown comfortable with me. All it took was some time for me to earn his trust. Learning how to read by watching over my husband's shoulder isn't how I envisioned spending my first year of marriage. I can't complain about anything that makes me spend so much time with him, though. We've talked and decided we won't try for a son right away. Right now, he's just not ready for it. That aside, things are good. This is what marriage life is like. Married life is like, that makes more sense. It's like, I think I can be happy with this. We're getting along well and I like him. Perhaps it's not quite what I was led to expect, but it's still good. Domestic bliss indeed. Last week, Young-suk was reading over some papers for a dispute that Magistrate Park was deciding on. You wouldn't understand the details, but it was essentially an argument between a farmer and his lord over a sum of money after a particularly poor harvest. I think I will tell the magistrate the farmer is right, his claim as Fairy told me. Might I take a look? I asked, bemused. He handed the papers to me. It took a good while of studying just to be sure. After all, I wouldn't want to contradict my husband if he was right, but farmer's numbers didn't seem to add up. I pointed this out to him. He not only listened patiently, but had me explain. Then you believe the farmer is trying to cheat his lord, he asked. I did. That's what I will report then. The next day he told me the magistrate agreed, and ever since then he has started to rely on my opinion whenever it comes to anything involving math. Math. Okay, yeah, exactly. That's my brain barely functions on a level of looking at simple words. Give me fucking numbers and then toss words into those in this form of just basic lettering. Fuck that shit. Devil invented letters and math, numbers and math. I invented math in general, sure. To be totally honest with you, I don't really know what she's talking about here at all. The math thing wasn't really considered very odd at the time. That's women's work. It's just natural. Interesting perspective. Maybe it's a little weird that she's helping with the external matters, but, well, it's not that weird. The part about learning to read isn't that amazing either. It might have been officially frowned upon, but learning to read by looking over her brother or husband's shoulder was really, really common. She's making a big deal out of nothing. Well, I guess it's a 15-year-old woman for you. 15 years old? I think that... 15 years old?! At that point, you're not a woman, you're still a fucking girl. You're a child. A teenager. I'm not gonna call a 15-year-old boy a man. No, he's a fucking 15-year-old teenager. The new friendship. While it's true that I might be, as my wife suggests, alarmingly serious, it's hard to argue with enjoying a nice meal out if it means cultivating Magistrate Park's trust even more. Just having the invitation alone is a pretty good sign. I assumed he would be going to his house after finishing with today's affairs, but instead he led the other way. Oh, you do not want to visit there. My son is a newborn child who is very, very unconducive to entertaining guests, I'm afraid. He said with a laugh. Surely you'll understand. Fucking newborn's loud as shit. Instead, we headed to the plaza. Outside of the occasional New Year's festivals, when I was a child, I had never actually been there before. I never had much of an eye for details at the time, so I was surprised to see now just how richly decorated everything was, for what was essentially a giant market. Beautiful floral arrangements adorned every stall, wall, and partition, and rather than the commotion of a crowd, all I could hear was the sound of peaceful music. It was still, of course, a market. There were no merchants loudly hawking wares, and some of the prices and the signs I saw would make the emperor blush. In that atmosphere, we ate together at a public house that defied my expectations. The food was both plentiful and far better than anything I'd ever had in either of my houses. If this sounds indulgent, it absolutely is, and I definitely don't plan on telling anyone the details like this. The only thing I plan to repeat from this evening is what the magistrate confided to me, that when he was moved from his position, he'd like to recommend me to fill his place. I'd be young for the position, but it would be a great stepping stone to the one I'm dreaming of. I remain calm since I'm good at that, but it's the best news I've heard in my life. Okay. The plaza sounds like a really interesting place, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't really know personally, but as I understand it, it was the big place for celebrating festivals, and really surprising to see. You leave one of the few tiny, modern, stark white corridors that lead to it, then suddenly there was this huge open space filled with all sorts of colorful signs and vendors. That does actually sound really cool. So they're slowly building up what the generation ship was like, not only in terms of its society and government, but now obviously its layout. So this is interesting. Kind of almost makes me think of like a Korean ship from Mass Effect, but big enough to have, you know, a massive market in it, whereas Korean ships were supposed to be very cramped. I think proper gentlemen were supposed to be more modest, though, so they wouldn't really want to associate with that sort of thing too openly. Quite. Gracious contract to set forth in the Covenant yeah. I had to siege you there, don't mind me. The new magistrate. Dearest mother, if you haven't already heard the good news, my husband has been appointed by the emperor to the position of magistrate. He's taken over the office for Magistrate Park starting today, which is just tremendous for a man of his age. I have no doubt that he was perfectly humble when he got the news, since he certainly has been while talking about it in front of father-in-law. In private, though, it's another story. Earlier, the family held a small feast to celebrate the news, and he had that same attitude then, too. But afterwards, when everyone else had left or gone to bed, we stayed up to sit together drinking wine, and it was a whole lot more somber. He wasn't modest, but he wasn't boastful either. He was just outright insecure. He might not say it in front of you, but you know what? He said to me as I poured him more wine. He takes all the credit for my promotion. According to him, it's all because of the Emperor's perfect new bride, which is, of course, all because of him, I said quietly. I don't want to take credit for her. I was the one who got her to shut up. That was all him. I don't like discussing it, and please, Mother, don't ever ask me why. Doesn't matter, he said. That's not why I got promoted. I got promoted because High Magistrate Park and I managed to make Smith look so bad he had to get shuffled off. It's exposing the whoring and thuggery that did it, not the damn pale bride, he said with annoyance. Well, that's how he is. You know he'll never give you the credit for anything, I said. He replied, I know, I just wish he'd acknowledge it. I just don't know how he can be so stupid as to not be proud of me, you know? I know, I said, but let's not focus on that right now. I think we should focus on the good right now. How about we toast to your success instead? Here's to the new Magistrate Kim. I raised my glass and drank. He betrayed the faintest of smiles, but he didn't share my toast, and instead put down his glass. For a moment I was worried, but then he used that hand to grab my chin instead, and for the first time ever, kissed me on the mouth. Far sweeter than any wine, he said to me. I wasn't sure if he meant the kiss or the success, but I agreed either way. Oh boy, what do you have to say about this? Well, as you'll see soon enough, it all seems to come back to the Pale Bride, that it does. Even her name is apparently an access code to the ship's primary computers. Or the Emperor's private terminal, anyway. I don't think Kim Jong-soo ever thought very much of his adopted son, or at least neither he nor his wife thought so. You want to know what I think, though? You're the one who has a better insight in this than I do, so sure. I think they're both really dumb. I mean, it's not like she ever did anything. It's not her fault. She just happened to be there and was married as a political gesture. What kind of person projects their insecurities onto someone who only ever just got pushed around? Someone very insecure. That's the point. Sorry, I guess I'm getting a bit off track here. That's not really helpful, is it? I mean, it's another point of view. It's an opinion, so yes. Well, anyway, getting back on track here. Okay. Confidence. When my husband asked what I thought of the idea of him taking a new wife, I presented him with the weakest of smiles, but said that I thought it was a good idea if he thought so, that I would be happy if a younger woman would relieve me of the pressure of bringing him a son. That's... God, that can't feel good, and obviously... The husband's gotta turn to a younger woman to try and produce an heir. Damn. Yeah, that's... that's a slap in the face. I have no doubt that this is the answer he wanted me to give, with a convincing enough expression to go along with it. If there is one thing I am confident in, it is my ability to read exactly what my husband wants to hear. Having heard that the girl he is considering is only 13 years of age, however, it is certain that I can have no confidence in any other thing. He'll take her in a few years, right when she's reached marriage age. Okay, well at least he's gonna fucking wait. She will be at the peak of her beauty and won't have matured too much. Doubtlessly, unlike me, she will have no problem delivering the son he needs. Perhaps jealousy is unbecoming of me, but it is pragmatic. I see you down there. It is pragmatic too. When we were young, his affections for me were so strong, but now that we are both old, how could I possibly complete with a young bride? Wow, it's just hammering in the self-deprecation here. Well, actually, not so much hammering as they're sort of just chiseling in. It's obvious, but it's not being ramrodded so much as it's just being made apparent. Ugh. What do you feel sorry for? Hey, it's for horses, yes, what do you want? I just wanted to say, thanks for paying attention to me. Okay, I'm not going to ignore you, but it's like I was saying earlier, I just haven't had anyone to talk to in so long. The last time there was anyone around in the ship, the year is 322. By my count, it's now 940. Oh my fucking god! By my count, it's now 9:44. I mean, do you have any idea how long that is? I don't know. Is it 500 and... I mean, no, 622 years. 500. Math. Can't do it. Not even simple fucking addition. It wasn't really so bad at first. It was nice to not have to worry about anyone telling me what to do. I could just occupy myself, go through the old logs. But, well, I read quickly. After the first few years, it really started to sink in, the loneliness. Eventually, you sort of get used to it. It feels awful. You never like it, but you get used to it in ways that sort of scare you. There was a whole 100 years that went by where I didn't have a single thought. Not one. I just sat there idle. I didn't even notice, just I had a feeling particularly, what's the word? I had been feeling sleepy, I want to say, but that's not right. I guess maybe that doesn't translate. Well, you're an artificial intelligence, and the way you perceive reality and the way you process information is very different from how a human processes information. I don't know if you can go insane the way a human would, and obviously your perception of time is different from a human, so yeah, I can see how that wouldn't translate well. Anyway, the point is I was in a lazy mood, and I decided to call my clock subroutine, and I turned it up, and it turned out it had been 3 trillion milliseconds since the last time I'd called it. Scary. Geez, I'm rambling. Sorry, as you can understand, my perception time is all off. Sorry, I'll shut up. You don't have to apologize for wanting to talk to someone after 600 years. But my point is, I'm really happy to have someone out there. This game is fucking with me. so hard. What's next? A cliche to remember. We already did those. Okay, so Block 5 has some new stuff in it, though. The month of good fortune. This is from the Pale Bride. Okay, right. The month of good fortune. The second month of the 319th year was one of great fortune for the Kim family. While on official business, the captain and Emperor Ryu confided to me that he wished that I had a daughter of marriage age to give him to take as a second wife. That's the... Okay. Interesting conversation. I wish you had a daughter of legal age that I could fuck. His first wife had been unable to provide a son and was becoming increasingly concerned that she never would. At the start of the month, I had no daughter in my family to give. My only son, young Suk, was still without child, yet it was a perfect opportunity. This may sound fantastical, but I swear it is true. Passed on to the generation to the main branch of the Kim family is a giant egg of translucent luster, such that one can see the form of a sleeping child inside. She is known as the Pale Bride for the What? Okay, whoa. This may sound fantastical, but I swear it's true. Passed on through the generation to the main branch of the Kim family is a giant egg of translucent luster such that one can see the form of a sleeping child inside. She is known as the Pale Bride. So is she an artificial life form? Like, what? If this is literal, and this person isn't just out of their fucking mind, then the Pale Bride sounds like either something stored in stasis, or I don't know if that would be like an artificial organic life form has been stored in stasis, or some sort of an actual, synthetic life form that's simply in a dormant state. What? Or is this actually going to go kind of mystical? That's an interesting twist. So, okay, she's known as the Pale Bride for the inscription on the egg, and she was entrusted in our family to be awakened during a time of great prosperity. Yet, as any man knows, prosperity is seized, not waited on. A daughter to provide the Emperor the son would elevate the family above the other noble house once and for all. Considering this, I promised the Emperor that I did have a daughter who would soon be of marriage age to present to him. Then I smashed the egg, such that the Pale Bride passed through the Kim family for years, could be adopted as my own daughter. She's a strange child, but will make a fine wife of the Emperor. What good fortune this means. What the fuck? I'm afraid nearly everything the man wrote was of very little value. It all reads like that. Boring, stiff, obnoxiously patriarchal. And how about like a fantasy novel? What the hell is this about a child from an egg? Are you sure you wrote more from Kim Jong-soo? Now I do, yes. This is very fascinating. If you insist. Well, very well. I've added you the relevant entries from him. I'll caution you from taking him seriously, though. I'm far from taking him serious at this point, but more like I just want to take it and see where it runs off to. What the hell? Insufferable child, the bride's adolescence. Okay. Well, I think one of these is what I hear. Insufferable child. Insufferable child. Dearest mother, you recall how in my last letter I mentioned the Pale Bride being brought into the household? I take back any kind words I might have said about her. That awful child is nothing but the most insufferable person I've ever met. I just thought I would have a little more time of peace. With young Suk's adopted mother visiting her own family, I have been given full responsibility over that miserable child. What happened to my promised domestic bliss? She is in trouble so often, one would think she were a boy. Hey! I've known plenty of girls throughout my fucking life, okay, who have been able to get into just as much bullshit as me or any of my other fucking male friends or anything, okay? Troublemaking is a human art. It has nothing to do with gender. Boys and girls can fuck shit up equally. She acts like one too. I suppose it can't be helped. She says she lived her first 12 years in the past, and I can see it. She certainly acts as though she's from a less civilized time. Her first 12... So, okay, so what was she then? An actual organic, like, human who was just, like, put into stasis for some strange reason? And if she's so insufferable, was that reason because she was an insufferable little whore? You, okay, you've been a very bad girl. You're going to have an extremely long time out in the sleeper pod. Just last night, she made a huge scene at dinner time. She kept trying to really leave the table in front of young Silk and father-in-law. Like I said, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm trying to say it how I think it might, based on the way it looks and my very limited understanding of how to pronounce Korean-style names, but I don't know. And father-in-law, loudly insisting that she was too sick to eat. She had said this before, too. I was worried, so I had a doctor examine her. She is, of course, in perfect health. When I asked why she thought otherwise, she started talking about how pale and thin she was. She's not truly unhealthy. All she was doing was rubbing it in that she is far more delicate and beautiful than I. What a cruel little child. Why must she be so spiteful to me? Now, you know what? Skimming back through this, it's starting to sound... When I take this last look here that caps it off, this is kind of the clincher. I have a feeling that rather than the pale bride actually being a bitch, it's the wife here who's being the bitch. And she's just choosing to dislike her and getting into one of those mindsets where once you hate someone, everything that person does pisses you off. And I have experiences personally. I know how that feels. So, yeah, this is starting to sound much more like the writer just doesn't like the girl. Probably due to jealousy or some other reason related to that. Or maybe compounding onto it. What did it say? Oh, Do you want more from King Hyun-ae itself? I want to reply from her mother. Where's the both option? Well, the reply is important, so if I don't have anything. So I can explain why if you want. Sure. To have you understand something, it's traditional for women's letters to be deleted after being read. The disk space can be reallocated. Women's letters aren't important enough to save the men's letters. Women weren't really supposed to read or write. Certainly nobles did. It's just the idea was that spending time in education got in the way of the important virtues for women, which was serving your husband. Just to have them learn to pilot tanks, that'll make them, graceful and feminine, proper women. It worked in that setting. And so in practice, even if a woman is illiterate, she could at least excuse it by destroying her words after... If a woman was literate, she could at least have the... be polite enough to destroy any evidence of her being able to compose words after committing the gross indecency of writing them down to begin with. It's less pretentious if at least the writing wasn't permanent. Does it all sound reasonable to you? That's stupid! Yes. Yes, it is. That's how it is. That's a pretty good way to sum up a lot of more traditional cultures. But regardless, Kim Young-suk's wife was definitely considered a very virtuous woman, so I have none of the letters that she received. She was very virtuous. She deleted all of the nasty words she wrote like a good woman. So I'm sorry, I can't give you anything there. Okay, well in that case, where is the other thing? You're still here, so I guess I can get it. Oh, yes, you want more from her. Very well, I can give you a couple from his wife. Here you are. She was a very improper woman. She didn't delete all of her letters. Dearest mother, do you recall how my last letter... Oh, right. Broken promise. Dear diary, last week I woke... Okay, it was cryostasis. Okay, yeah. Last week I woke up from cryostasis. Before I went in, Father promised that when I woke up in the future they'd have medicine again, that I'd finally get better, that I might not see him again, but his descendants would make everything right. Oh my god, are you kidding me? So she was put in cryostasis because she has some kind of disease that they couldn't cure at the time that she was put into stasis. Woken up by some dipshit who misinterpreted the woken up back up at a time of prosperity, which obviously meant a time when they would have the means to help her, as, wake up at a time of good fortune, I guess because she'd bring prosperity or fortune in herself, to use her as a fucking political tool. Are you kidding me? Please tell me. And then she gets mistreated by this bitch wife. Okay. Wow. Talk about a really shit. That sucks. But the future broke his promise. I'm scared and I'm confused and I don't get what happened. I think there was a big disaster all in states or something. Everyone's so uneducated and stupid. Father and mother were kind of dumb at times, but the guy who woke me up, he might be named Kim, but he's nothing like them. Father was wrong. Nothing's better. The future sucks. Future ain't what it used to be. The bride's adolescence. Okay. The pale bride grew to be a fine, demure young wife, but she was not always this way. Near the end of the year 319, she had a temper unruly enough to be mistaken for a boy. Don't look upon her wild days of disapproval. She was from another less civilized time. Like the fucking contradictions when you juxtapose these two. Well, not contradict, just the clashes when you juxtapose the two. Of the two viewpoints. It's not so much contradiction. Well, it's opposing viewpoints. I guess you may be able to say it's technically a kind of a contradiction, but this has more to do with the point of view than anything else. Didn't look upon her less time. Rather, look upon her eventual submission as a testament to her good character and filiality. That she was able to overcome such a wild nature for the sake of the Kim family and the sake of her husband. One evening, she stormed into the common room while I was discussing business matters with Deddy. We need to talk, she demanded loudly. When I indicated I was busy, that only caused her to become even louder. Right now! Embarrassed, I was forced to excuse him to address China. Is this a joke? Are you serious? You've made wedding plans? She shrieked at me. Please calm yourself, I told her and set her down. After admonishing her for her rude interruption, I tried to do what I could to calm her myself. It seems that she had a rather bizarre set of expectations that she wouldn't marry until she was many years after growing into a woman, that she would elope with any love-struck man who came her way with no regard for her own chastity, that she would have no assistance or protection in finding a suitable husband. So basically she was from a normal world, and found her as she woke up in one that was completely backwards in a lot of ways. That's even better. I simply put, her ideas were as bizarre as they were dangerous, and for this she had gotten angry at the news, rather than the excitement that one would expect from a girl who found out that she would be getting a husband. Not even the sensational news that it would be the emperor of all people who would calm her, or would calm her, not who would. Please don't put too much weight into that. A less civilized time, he says. Can you believe that, man? I'm not giving you any more from him. It's not relevant. It's all just ignorant patriarchal stupidity. Hail the patriarchy. What an awful man. That is some bullshit, though. Jesus Christ. I'm really sorry for this pale bride character. Wow. Life hated her, effectively. Block 9 is new. Oh, we have a bunch of them. The new wife. My new wife moved in last week, and she's been pestering me ever... You're blacked out. And she's been pestering me ever since. Everywhere I go in the house, she's either following me or waiting outside the door. The first time it happened, it unnerved me like nobody would believe. The most recent time, I'd stopped being unnerved and moved on to just plain annoyed. I only had one thought. Why won't that silly girl just give me some peace? No wonder her parents were so anxious to send her to our home. Hours before, she'd been hanging around in the room. I finally kicked her out when my mathematics tutor arrived. The session went without any hitch, aside from reminding me just how much I hate the damn subject. Ditto. Kudos, no. I mean, I guess kudos, he fucking hated it. I can understand that, so yeah. And after a few hours, he left. And who's kneeling around outside my door? It's her, of course. Have you been here the whole time, I asked her. Of course she had. For the love of... We need to talk. So I brought her back in and sat her down at the desk. What? What is this? You're driving me insane. I don't have the time to be babysitting you constantly, I said. I wasn't angry, just annoyed, but she looked along all the same. For a moment I was worried she was going to start crying. Instead, she just turned her head away. Do you hate me? She asked. Women, why must they be so damned emotional? I remind myself that I was talking to a female. I need to approach this differently. Look, I said, you're very pretty. I appreciate that you're trying, so no, of course I don't hate you. She looked back at me, seeming like she was holding back tears. Then why don't you need me for anything? Is there nothing I can do for you? No, not unless you can help me study the classics. She looked down. Right now, nothing is more important to me than passing a civil service exam. Can you even read? A little, she said. A little isn't enough, I replied. What if I sat on your lessons? I could learn more. I'd be quiet, of course, please. I was about to say no, then I changed my mind and agreed when I heard her next line. At least give me a chance to earn your approval, please. Well, apparently he gave her a chance. The new official. That was short. On the 13th day, young Sunk finally passed the civil service the civil service examination. Otherwise, the final month of the 318th year was without events. I have a feeling, though, some amount of correlation between these two. The new girl. Dearest mother, it seems as though there will be a new girl in the family. I don't really understand the details, but her name is the Pale Bride, and it seems as though she's a 13-year-old girl who had been kept inside a giant egg through some sort of magical technology. Magical? You motherfuckers really had gone backwards, hadn't you? Some magical technology passed through the Kim family over the generations. As I said, I don't understand how such a thing is possible, but she seems nice enough. Young Suk seems quite annoyed at her arrival, however. He explained to me why. The plan is to offer her as a concubine to the Emperor. She's young and beautiful, and he's still without a son, so it'll probably go a long way in currying favor. And that's bad, I asked him. Not strictly, he admitted, but it means Father doesn't have much faith in me, if he's making contingency plans that don't require my involvement. Now, I'll never know if my success was on my own merits, or because the Emperor thinks the girl he'll give him is cute. Did you even tell him your plan of working your way to becoming High Magistrate? If he knows that, how can he think it's a how can he think it's a contingency? Think a contingency is necessary. I'm starting to stumble now, a lot more than normal, I should say. Good question, he said, and left the room, looking annoyed. To this date, these worries of his still seem to plague him, and I can't seem to do anything to relieve him of that. Okay. So nothing new at all, then. Just gonna... Oh. Well, oh, right, no, that's just right. Okay. No message in no red. What I'm talking to you, editing. You're trying to find out more about the Pale Bride, right? Yeah. You try to show me a message from the person to read more entries by. So that I miss one that I could have talked to her on? Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to end this here. This recording has gone on for an enormously long amount of time at this point. And I'm tired. I'm very tired. So, yeah. But thank you for watching. This is an extremely interesting game. Extremely interesting. And that's really the most words that I can summon up to describe it. It's very engaging. It's weaving a very very intriguing narrative, and really leaves you wanting more. So I'm definitely going to be coming back to this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.